Good evening, everybody. It's Wednesday. It's 6:30, and that means it's time for a SciComm live chat. Of course, this is a date, right? Every Wednesday, 6:30, we do this. We have live chats, SciComm live chats. All right. My name is Nzigi Saki, and I'm the founder and CEO of Circular Digital. For those of you who do not know, and we do digital marketing for scientists, right? Because we know scientists, you need to focus on the research, Let us handle the marketing stuff. Let us handle all the other stuff. So, yeah, we've got you. We've got you. Yeah, so today, obviously, we have somebody else, but today, we have somebody else. But the beautiful thing about the person we have today is that they're a science writer. They're not a scientist. They're a science writer, right? They study science journalism. So it's going to be very interesting to find out or see the world from the other side, see SciComm from the other side, because most of the time we are constantly chatting with scientists and so forth. So it'd be really great to chat to somebody who is not a scientist but deals a lot with science writing. So her name is Engela Duvenage, and I'm going to bring her right on so we can get this chat started.
Good evening. How are you?
I'm fine, thanks. And how are you?
I'm okay. Let's hope this line works. Hey, I live in Wellington in the fiber is not yet an option in my part of the world.
Yeah, yeah. No, you know what? Technology is like this. It's one of those things. And to think that we actually did a test run earlier and it's still doing this, it's okay. But we're not going to waste much time.
Right.
All right. You can hear me. I know there's a little bit of a delay, but can you hear me though?
Okay.
Okay, perfect. So let's get to know you a little bit for people who do not know you. Who is Engela? Tell us a little bit about your career and how you ended up in science writing.
So I studied journalism as a choice. I've always loved writing, and from my school days, I grew up in Oudtshoorn, and then I went to study at Stellenbosch University. I worked in community newspapers in the Southern Cape and also in Paarl. And then I wanted to do a master's degree in journalism. And my options were basically business side of the media, ethics, and science journalism. And I liked that. I've always liked the environment, animals, plants, and such. I didn't study it, but I've always liked it. And science is basically fact, né? But science fact. It's like history, but fact. And I've always liked fact. And so I ended up doing science journalism with an environmental slant to it, and did my master's in that. And from there onwards, I went to work for Cape Nature Conservation in their communications section. That was absolutely lovely. I had 4 years of wonderful times in nature reserves and chatting to nature conservators. They're telling me little things about fynbos and lizards and stuff. It was absolutely lovely. And then I went to
Sounds
work
amazing.
for yeah, it was absolutely fun. And then I went to work for Stellenbosch University in the Faculty of Science, and I was their science writer. So I wrote stories about their researchers and what the people do. So researchers have their science papers that they produce about their specific topic that they've researched. My job is, in that sense, to take the research out of the journal and write a story so that you can read about it in the newspaper. I, for instance, recently wrote a story on a student who's developing a new type of formula milk for rhinos, specifically for rhino calves that are orphaned. And she's trying to get a type of formula milk like you would give to your baby, but now it's for a rhino. So she's doing that research, and my job is then to take it, the research paper and translate it into a news story. And I've been freelancing now for the past 9 years. I'm a freelance science writer. I work for Landbouweekblad, which is an agricultural magazine that you might know, and for the Lig magazine. And then I work a lot for research institutions like Stellenbosch University, Watergrow Science, um, Pretoria University. I love taking people's research and making a story out of it so that the general public can know about it. Yeah. So that's what I've done.
Sounds You've been doing
Yeah.
this for years. You've been doing this for years. It sounds really fun, and I'm so yeah,
I
and I'm sure
started
you take the time with so many different people.
I'm starting to feel like an old hand.
No, 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 no. You're doing great. You're doing great. So, for somebody who's written and who has been writing for so long, what would you say is the secret behind being an excellent science writer?
My secret is that I only write that what I understand. My job is to translate science into a readable story for other people to understand. And if I don't understand the specifics of a topic, I don't include that in the story, because I think of myself as a member of the general public with a general knowledge. Eh? So if I don't understand it, I don't include it. So, and the use of metaphors and descriptions, I love writing about people, for instance, and the people who do the research, because I think that's one way of sneaking in little, people love reading about people. And if you
Yes.
sneak little bits of science in between a nice profile story, that's one way of getting people interested in science. Yeah. And it's trying to
That
make the jargon, all the basics, cutting the jargon and sticking to the interesting part of a research. And not all research can become news stories. I firmly believe that. You can try, but some topics are really not. It's not for the general public, and therefore one can try, but it does take a lot of effort to make certain topics. And I'm not going to name the topics, but
No, no, no. You don't have to. You don't have to. I mean, it makes sense. It makes sense.
yeah,
There's certain research that tends to be very complex, that trying to simplify it down to a story makes it very difficult, you know.
yeah.
And also, I mean, sometimes it only makes sense to write about something that is relevant, because not all research is relevant to the time or to the certain period that it's being in. You know, sometimes it's more futuristic or it's more of in the past kind of thing. So it's not always so relevant at the time. So it makes sense to maybe be like, let's maybe skip this and write about something else.
Or you package it differently. Say the research department is a very technical one, but they've acquired an interesting piece of equipment. Then you focus on the equipment and write about that, and then sneak little bits of the research topic in. But some things are too deep. That's my way. I'm blonde, remember? So if I'm if it doesn't make sense to me, not sense, but if it's too difficult for me, I think maybe one should try and package it differently, or focus on the people who are doing the research, because there's amazing people who do their thing, and I like them.
Yeah, yeah, no, no, that's great. That's great. But we actually brought you on here for something really cool. You know, in all your years of writing, you have a book.
I have two. Yeah,
Let's
it's an English
talk
and an
about
Afrikaans one.
these books.
Yeah, can I show it to you? So this is
Yes,
the Afrikaans
please.
one. That's Uitvinders, Planmakers, and others in Africa. So that came out last year. It was first written in
Yes.
Afrikaans and it's published by Lapa. And then at the beginning of August, the English version came out. Inventors, Bright and Other Science Heroes of South Africa, published by Penguin. And it's a thick one. It's probably the thickest science book for children in South
Yeah.
Africa.
It is a big
300,
book. It is a big
360 pages, 102 stories. So it's stories about people in South Africa who have all made some kind of first in South Africa. So that's the, I'm trying to get my bearing. So that gives you an idea. So each time there's a photograph of someone. That's the guy
Yes.
who discovered Littlefoot along with his colleague. Let's see who we have here. Rob Guess is a paleontologist in Makandla. He discovered, you might know Professor Chinsami Turan. She wrote the first science books about dinosaurs in South Africa for children. So they all have something first, which is nice. This guy is George Philander. He's a professor in America at the moment. But you know the terms El Nino and La Nina, for instance, they're weather terms. So he coined the name La Nina. And Murendeni Mafuma, he developed a type of water filter using nuts as the basis. So it's all a manner of people, 102 people, all, some have died already, some have passed away, and some are currently still with us, luckily. And they've all had some type of first. So it's a first transplant, or a first invention, or a first discovery of a new species of earthworm, or velvet worm, or long-tongued flies. There's a story for instance, about an elephant dentist. Did you know that one gets elephant dentist?
No, that's new.
Yeah. He is let me show you Gerard Steenkamp if I can find him quickly. Oh, and there's also a section on there's 5 South African men who've all studied in South Africa, who've all won the Nobel Prize. See that it's now Nobel Prize time. There's 5 the one man, for instance, Max Tyler, that's his photograph. He worked out that, have you ever traveled and needed a yellow fever vaccine?
Yes, I have.
That's the guy who developed the yellow fever vaccine in the 1950s. And for that, he received the Nobel Prize. Yeah.
Amazing. Like, obviously, you have a lot of scientists and inventors in the book. But what I want to know is, what was the inspiration behind the book? Why did you feel it was important to write it?
Two reasons. One, I'm a mother. I have 2 daughters. And the other reason is because I'm a science writer. So on a daily basis, or nearly daily basis, I meet the most amazing, inspirational people who use their brain power to make something better. Eh? Even if it's something like climate change or AIDS or malaria, they are all working towards getting things better. Eh? And I so appreciate people like that. And I think they are underappreciated, because often they're not the loudest of people, eh? But I think they need to be celebrated. So often when I interview someone, I come home and chat to my children and tell them what I've been doing. And once or twice I've really felt that I so wish that they would be able to do an oral or a school task or something about South African heroes, and not always about Einstein and about all the guys from overseas and women from overseas. I wanted them to write about and speak about my people. Eh? And so that's how it started. That's how it started. It started with a combination of being a mother and wanting to give them a resource, and other children also, and other teachers, a resource for them to be able to get to know their local people. And that's something I've really realized that people have been doing through the book. And I'm so pleased about that. People have discovered their own people, and local South Africans, to be proud of, because there's so many. I could have possibly written a book with 1,000 people in it, but your editor does stop you at some point.
Yes, yes. No, of course. You know, I'm just seeing a comment here by Guinevere. She's one of the super scientists, called Bones. I don't know if you
I
know
love
about the
them.
super scientist interview
Yes,
just
I do.
last week. You know, and I feel like it's a very similar concept, you know, of trying to show the kids the very scientists that are right in their backyard and getting to know them, you know, so that you can maybe do an oral on them, you know, and get to learn about the different careers that they're in, and to also see yourself in somebody who would potentially live right next door to you, you know? So yeah, I think the book was a fantastic idea, and it would be really cool to maybe one day have one that is of scientists who are like right here, right now, within the past maybe 5 years or 10 years, you know, who've done amazing things. I think
Absolutely.
that'd be absolutely fantastic.
Yes.
Yeah.
This
So writing a
combination,
book.
uh, this one is a combination of
Oh no
people
no.
from the past and people from. This one has a combination of people from the past and also current people, which is really nice. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, it'll be very interesting to see what such a book would look like in the next 10, 20, 30 years, to see how much it changes. I think that'll be absolutely cool. It will be
Yeah.
really amazing.
Yeah. So, because this one I
So when,
selected not necessarily I didn't necessarily select the most famous or the most prominent researchers. I selected it based on specific firsts. Yeah. So that's always difficult to find. And if your
mm,
history, our history wasn't built on a certain section of our population being able to be in science. And as you say, in 10 years' time, that's going to be so different. It's actually going to be exciting. Yeah.
yes, yes. I'm actually so glad that you mentioned that, because I think that is something that we've been trying to focus on a lot, you know, of
Mm.
trying to see a lot more Black scientists, you know, having a lifetime on them, because they can finally do that now after for a very long time they couldn't, you know. So it's
Absolutely.
beautiful that now the chance is there and we can potentially see them in your book.
Definitely.
Yeah. So when you were writing the book, I'm sure it wasn't easy. What are some of the challenges that you experienced with it?
The biggest challenge probably was trying to fit it in between one's day job. As a yeah, so it was a project of about 4 years of getting everything together and then also reworking your editions and reworking your draft. So that was quite a challenge. I was lucky that I received about a little bit of funding from the Suid-Afrikaanse Akademie vir Wetenskap en Kuns, the South African Academy for Science and Art. They provided me with some research money. And that was extremely valuable because I was able to sometimes then say no to freelance jobs because it helped me. But time was definitely the biggest one. So yeah, trying to fit it all in. But and trying to select because as I've mentioned, I would have been able to write about 1,000 people, and trying to
Mhm,
select and not only having men and not only having paleontologists or not only focusing on engineers. So selection was also a very important thing. Having enough women um,
mhm,
and having enough younger people also, and trying to get your everything correctly. Yeah.
mhm. So before I ask you the next question about your other project that you're part of, can you tell us where we can get the book?
I missed that.
Where can we get the book?
Oh. Most bookshops have it. It's in an exclusive books, bargain books, and such. There's a site called Graffiti Books that are brilliant at sending you your order online. You can get it on Takealot, Loot. Yeah, it's generally out there quite a bit. And if you really can't find it, let me know and then I'll post you a copy. but exclusive books, bargain books, the basics. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, there you have it, guys. Now you know where you can get the book, and hopefully one day some of the scientists I've interviewed can be in that book. I'll be so excited if in the future we can have them. So,
Yeah,
besides being an author, you're also a co-founder for Cyber.
yeah. Now, Cyber's payoff line is brown.
Yeah, no, I was just gonna say, tell us about Cyber.
I mean, there was a slight lull. Cyber is a non-profit website and social media platform that was formed about 8 years ago. Um, when between myself and Anina Mum, she's also a science communicator and science journalist, but she's based in Pretoria, and we met up in Helsinki in Finland for a World Science Journalism conference. And we started chatting about our jobs and how privileged we feel to be able to work with South African scientists. And Cyber was our way of introducing local science to the public. So in a way, Cyber is probably something that came before the book. The book is another way of introducing local science to our people and to a broader audience. But we have amazing colleagues working with us. We have Sibusiso Bayela, he provides Zulu copy, and I think I don't know if other people have done it since, but he provides a lot of Zulu science copy, and that makes him. He's called the science decolonization guy. I think that's his payoff line or his handle. A lot of science writing in Zulu. I do a lot of science writing in Afrikaans, and then Anina also does a lot in English. But the book took a bit of time from me, so we didn't do too much with Cyber for the past few years, and Anina got a set of twins, so that took a lot of time. Yeah, but we're now trying again to get it done, get more copy on the website and things like that, because we feel it's important, and it's a way of introducing people often to guys that are not already like the A-rated scientists, but are doing their thing. And it's a way of sometimes you just have a good article that you just want to write. And the standard newspapers do not want to accept it. And then I use it for Cyber, which is lovely. Yeah. So we cover a lot of topics as we feel like it. We've had some funding from the Royal Society of South Africa, and we hope to at some stage be able to have more funding available so that we can get journalists and pay them for their specific stories, so that we can at some stage maybe become some type of South African news wire, like Reuters or something. That's now the big dream.
Oh, yeah. That'll be
anyone there with lots of money, let me know.
I'm sure somebody's listening. Anyway, let's get into the questions because I see there's a question that was posed over here. Let me just tap on it so you can see it. So the question was, does the book only feature African scientists? I think you've already answered that question.
Technically, the book only features South African scientists or people with South African links. I'm very specific about that. So it's Inventors, Bright Minds, and of South Africa. Yeah, so it would be lovely to do one just on African scientists. That would be wow, that would be really cool. But yes. I've decided I'm proudly South African, so I've decided to focus on. Yeah, so it's people who've either studied in South Africa, went to school in South Africa, or after school came to work in South Africa for a solid piece of time. Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. I just want to read some other comments here because our time is fast spent already. We've already spoken about this. We had Ginelli, who's a super scientist, she was like, she would love to feature in that book. And I mean, we've already spoken about how we would like, in the next 5, 10 years to have a book with super scientists in it. I think that would be really amazing.
I will definitely have to chat to my editor and my publisher, or maybe we can do a new one, a follow-up.
Yeah, speak to Justin. Speak to Justin and ask him if you guys can do like collaboration.
Lovely. Ew, that would be
Yeah.
lovely.
Let's see. In the comments, you have a comment that says amazing work.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think that's about it. Yeah, we've addressed everything else. Do you have anything else on your side that you'd like to share about being a science writer?
I think it's an amazing, fun job. Sometimes one's brain is tired at the end of the day, but every day I learn something new, and that's an absolute privilege. That's really an absolute. And something I can mention about the book is that I found that I've received the most amazing videos of children already talking, doing their school projects or orals from the book. Using the book I've written it in such a way that there's enough information that children can do a school task from it, or do an oral. I'm using it as a source. Now I've received comments from teachers who are using it in their class. The one grade 3 teacher, for instance, she reads them the story, then they Google, let's take the elephant dentist, for instance. So she as a theme in her class, she did elephant. And then she read them the story about the elephant dentist, and then they Googled him and to see what he does and the size of the animals he works on and stuff like that. So it's really, really, I sometimes get quite teary when I think of how people are enjoying it and using the book.
Yes.
One teacher uses it as a way of teaching her children how to write a CV. So they read through the story, and then they have to write a CV based on what they've written. So that's various ways of using it. And that's really heartening and motivating to know that one's work that you've worked on for quite some time is used in such a way.
Okay. Oh, we have a question here before we close off. The question is, can we get copies in Ghana for our STEM projects? Are digital copies available for purchase?
Yes, you can buy it on Amazon. There's Kindle versions on Amazon, I know. But you can buy it via Amazon. You can do that. Yeah. You can just my name and surname. Maybe you can type my surname and my name because it is a bit difficult. Oh, it would be so cool if you have you are reading it in Ghana. That would be an honor. Wow.
Yes, that would be really cool. And the coolest thing is that the people who just asked this question, it's actually STEM Robotics. They're an academy in Ghana and we'll be interviewing the director next week. So that'll be very, very interesting to hear what they're up to.
Yeah. Something I might also be able to mention about the book is that the stories. So it's not absolutely dry non-fiction. So each one has an element of drama and stuff like that. So it's something that you can read to your class, or to your children, or your children can read to you.
Sounds absolutely amazing. Engela, thank you so much for coming through and doing this chat. I enjoyed it so much. I learned a lot, and I can see myself getting a copy of the book to read to my son. I think he'll enjoy it a lot. So yeah, thank you so, so much, and have a fantastic evening. And thank you to everybody for watching. Make sure you join us again next week, Wednesday at 6:30.
Thank you for the opportunity, and thank you for the platform that you are giving to people like me in the science communication field. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you. Right. Bye. Bye, everybody.